Hello, everybody. My name is Simon Prokop. I'm from Faculty of Architecture in Czech Technical University in Prague. And together with my colleagues from Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen, Xian Yotong Liverpool University, and the University of Liverpool, we have the paper titled Qualitative Knowledge Graph for Evaluation of Metaverses. I'm not going to go through all the names. I hope it's not rude. We're all kind of friends here. So here's the outline of the whole presentation, and I think it's redundant to say that the metaverse could be a big opportunity for architects, but there's a kind of problem with this because currently there's a lot of metaverse projects, and we don't know which to focus on. So we'll try to solve this problem using the design science research framework, and we came up with some preliminary way how to evaluate in which metaverse you should or could do your work as an architect. So it's a really work in progress. So let's start with this, which metaverse project to focus on. The issue is that when we started writing this paper together, there was already 32 different metaverse projects, and that was Q1 of 2022. And all of them already at that time were in different stages of development and different stages of how can you access them and so on. And the thing is, there's even different motivations behind building a metaverse, right? There's the corporate ones like Meta, Omniverse, Microsoft is definitely up to something, Sony is up to something, right? And then you have the open source ones like Webverse, Mozilla Hubs, even Decentraland, right? And there's other ones focusing on art, and there's different approaches what the metaverse can do. And us as architects, we can perceive this as really a big amount of 3D or spaces which need to be designed, but what to focus on. That's the main issue. So right now there's definitely more than 32 active metaverse projects, and we kind of stopped tracking all of them because that was not the way how to approach this. As we read the paper from Mr. von Brock, which proposes the design science research framework, we realized that we can actually use this framework to actually at least get the first two steps done by identifying the problem and actually define the objectives and criteria of the solution. So the outcome of our paper could be actually used in the third phase of this, which is called design, but probably the thing which we're going to design is just a questionnaire and an experiment to actually test our assumptions here. So we came up with these 6 criteria how to evaluate which metaverse is actually meaningful for architects. I'll quickly go through these, and then we later on realize that actually it's a role and it goes much deeper. But of course, the platform on which you can access that metaverse is important. In some cases, VR could be useful. In some cases, you rather have your mouse and probably your computer, or you need to access it on a web browser or even on your mobile, right? These things could play a difference. Then there's this notion of visual representation. Probably if you want to talk about spaces which you can enter and explore and so on, we need some kind of scale accuracy, even in objects and avatars, so that you know where you are, what the scale of what the size of the space is, and so on. And there's also this realism and stylization kind of balance. Of course, if it's for architects, we have the design capabilities, like there probably are some limitations of your 3D modeling, and we are kind of used to 3D modeling software, CAD, having some features like snapping, number input when you're modeling, maybe access to some asset library, and these things should play definitely a big role in deciding where to go to do virtual architecture, right? So another one we defined was the level of gamification, because some of the metaverses are probably right now easier described as a game, and probably they have some kind of mandatory rules which would force you to actually, run away from some monsters or something, which is probably not useful when you want to show a piece of architecture to your client or something. So the fact if there's absence of theme, or if you're forced to do something like in space, could actually play a role as well. Another topic and a big criteria we picked is blockchain integration, because we believe proper metaverse needs to use blockchain in order to have immutable recording of what's going on, which ties to economic incentives of the participants, even ownership and governance. And the last one we named user experience because, frankly, if we look at the architecture scope right now, everybody is happy to learn one CAD software and go with it. But learning, all of crypto could be actually a big bottleneck for this. So not in the end, but right now we can imagine scoring every single metaverse on these 6 like criteria, give them scores, and be easy. Then it will be easy to compare which one is more suitable for us, which one probably not. Yeah, but we are not at this stage. So as we started doing the criteria, we first, just made a table and perceived it as a simple table data. But quickly we realized that there has to be some kind of importance weight on each of those sub-criteria. And then you would weight that score, which is being assigned to that one sub-criteria. So maybe like having a mobile app is not so important as having a standalone like PC app, right? And to be honest, those are just suggested weights. We really want to measure these using community. I'll get to that in the end. So that's one thing. And then we started suggesting. So how much is this important? And it was just a discussion between the authors, and this is suggested weights, and we need to kind of validate those. So in terms of this realism scale, it gets sometimes hard to quantify such a thing, because in some use cases you're totally okay with having voxels to represent your space. Maybe you're working on a bigger scale, some urban design or some participation. It's totally fine to have just really abstract shapes there. And in some cases like sports or fashion, you really need to go for as realistic as possible. And actually quantifying that could be actually hard, but what we are thinking is to have a use case for which this amount of realism is suitable or not, and that can be quantified. So we realized pretty quickly that we need to actually nest the criteria, because in terms of limitations, for example, we can actually say limitations, they play a big role, but then which limitations are the biggest one? Maybe the file size or the vertex count for each object you can place into the metaverse. So this is like a scope of the whole thing. I would like to say that this is not finished yet, but in some cases we already are at the 3rd level of this hierarchy here, and we really feel that there's more to be covered. Okay, so this is the knowledge graph right now at this stage, and what we discovered is that in order to be able to use it, we need some proper rigorous way how to say what a metaverse project is, and if we should include the VR worlds like VR Chat or Second Life, or even the multiplayer games like Minecraft, Roblox, or Alien Worlds or whatever. So this kind of makes it a little bit harder, but once we are able to understand this is a metaverse ambition project, we can include it to actually rate it in here. And the other one I already talked about is the importance of is the realism actually that important? What about the social interactions, the things you do in there, isn't it actually driver of the immersion? So that's another thing, and we believe that Metaverse Network and the continuation of that from Mr. Koutamaris could be actually source of how to actually solve such a thing. And in our future work, because as I said, we're just at the beginning, we would like to use the community of ArchiDAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization for architects. We recently overcame 500 on our Discord, and those are actually all crypto enthusiasts, metaverse enthusiasts, and we would like to give them a task to go explore one of the metaverses and actually validate the suggested weights propose their own, and also use that validated weight to actually rate the metaverse they went to. And then this could actually broaden our specter of 6 criteria to more, because we're not sure if this is actually the final number of criteria, but doing this with the architect / Web3 enthusiast kind of feels right. So this is where we're at, and I really thank you for your attention, and I will answer